Fay, can you please read the Open Public Meeting Act statement?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of March 3rd, 2028 was included in the list of meeting notices sent to newspapers of record and posted in the bulletin board in the municipal building and has remained continuously posted as the required notice under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Please rise for the invocation and flag salute.
We gather here today in intent of doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in matters before us. May we have civility in our town, especially our city hall.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Vicki.
Council President Piazza.
Here.
Council Vice President McMahon.
Here.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo. Councilman Fulper.
Here.
Councilman Warren.
Here.
Okay, first on our agenda, we would like to welcome Chief Stetner to give his monthly update, if you will. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
As you can see, this is the new format we came up with. Me and Council President Gavin met a few weeks ago. So, if you have any questions in reference to it, some of the things we did discuss that we like to make sure that we say out loud here are some of the trainings, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of one of the
We'd
things.
like to hear.
So basically for the month of January, beyond the stats that you see, our tactical response team continued their training, which they have monthly training, and we had officers go to combative, subject restraint and control training. Going forward, a few of the community events coming up. You guys see Mary Jo Harris here. We're running the Community Day of Action with her. That'll be April 18th. So check-in begins at 8:30 a.m. We'll plug that until we get there to that date. And that'll be over around 11 a.m. She does a little wrap-up ceremony. We did one last year. It went pretty well. I think there were a few council people present for that, so hopefully we can get the same sort of support. And then the job fair. Unfortunately, Steve Fielding's away this year, but he handed it over to somebody else. So we will continue with that. We'll have the job fair. It'll be at the Firth Youth Center on May 29th from 10 to 2 p.m. And we have about the same vendors that we or same employers that we had last year. So.
Who did he turn it over to?
Patrolman Cyphers is not here. He's away on military leave, so we had to compensate for that. But if you have any questions about these numbers, that's really what we boiled it down to. I think the council president spoke with some of the council members and what I had spoken with the mayor about and what we came up with. If there's anything else you want to know, let me know as we go. If there's another number you want me to add in there, we can always adjust.
Sure. Councilman Wine, do you have anything there?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Councilman Fulper?
Yes, Chief, this was a great report. There was something I had noticed. There was a social media event. Was it Taco Palooza to honor the color guard? The honor guard?
That's just coming up. I don't have the details of it. That's why I include. That'll be on May 2nd. The honor guard is something that the guys started from within. Now,
Okay.
naturally, it's a new thing we're doing. We've been able to acquire a lot of the equipment and stuff, but a lot of times the guys want to go away to some of these bigger funerals. So what they're doing is they're asking if we're going to do some fundraisers through the union, I guess. And what will happen is if they want to go, if there's a funeral down in North Carolina, they're going to pay for their own hotel so that they can go represent the park. So they have my blessing in doing that, but it shouldn't come at a cost to you guys.
Who's in charge?
Jim McDonald and Anthony Goodell will be, there's nobody really in charge, but they kind of head up that stuff.
I'd like to make a donation, so you can just
But
have
I
to
mean,
reach out.
we're more than glad to take it.
Excellent.
I don't know who they're making the stuff out to. They were gonna work on flyers to give me. I
Okay.
mean, next meeting, I can bring that for you.
Great,
We'll have
thank you.
that for the next, next report.
Yes, sir. I have nothing further.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I should have started with you. Do you have anything to add?
Chief, this report's pretty comprehensive, and appreciate you being transparent with the council and the mayor's office. Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Council Vice President?
Chief, thanks for coming. The station house adjustments, is that still juveniles or that?
That's all, yeah, station house adjustments is just a juvenile program.
So make sure.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And does the county keep, do they coordinate with that? I know that kind of came as a directive down from the AG's office. Is that something the county kind of calls you up on once in a while and seeing how we're doing with that? Because that's,
Well, we pay for that, like on Saturdays. We have grant money that comes through the county. So that's it, like we assign somebody every Saturday who's paid overtime, who goes there. And that money comes from the Juvenile Justice Commission, which is through county.
the summons is it possible, as at a request, or I'll go through the council president to request, is it possible we can break down the summonses into a moving and non-moving violation? We get a lot of emails regarding parking or there's a lot of vehicles that are parked.
Parking, I can do easily.
Because only if that could be broken down, because we do get a lot of emails regarding situations where the vehicles parked, improperly parked, or complaints of parking and stuff, so if I can break that out a little bit more, I can probably better answer the question.
I can do that.
Okay.
I can put town ordinances in there too if you want, because that includes in those summonses, I mean,
I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Because
just to head
we-
it off, I mean, if we're going that direction, if I get it all done at once, it's nice.
Or that could be just a sub-report to this, so if you however you want to do it, talk to council
That's
president,
pretty
it's
easy
fine.
to do this.
Okay. With our budget books are placed before us, so we'll obviously deep dive into that later on. I know we have with the recent retirement of Officer Barrigan, and I know there was possibly another vacancy as well. With those two vacancies, can you expand a little bit on how we're going to fill them? And in addition to, do we have an anticipated any retirements coming up? Because if we go ahead and put our blessings on, when we go ahead and do this, if there's any anticipated, or do you know of anybody has put it, or keep us abreast of what's going on, at least the mayor, so we could adjust, make sure your department is covered, and
Yeah.
we have coverage on the street for our
At this point,
citizens.
we're doing a background check on a lateral transfer because of the fact that we are down an officer, Frank Berrigan leaving, and we're down a second officer with Officer Fielding being deployed. So we're really down two. I'm a big fan of hiring from a list because I feel like that's where we get our own people from. So we did advertise through law enforcement chains for a lateral transfer. We are looking at somebody right now for that. And then we're hoping to hire somebody from a list if the person does in fact retire in July. I don't want to speak out of turn because, it's somebody's personal business, but we do anticipate another retirement this year. So we're hoping, I don't want to run two guys now. I really don't, especially when you get to the summer months. That's why I made a request to the mayor and discussed it with him about doing a lateral transfer.
How long is that officer out for?
Who, Officer Fielding?
Yes.
He won't be back till next year.
All right, just.
Yeah, some of these deployments are, long.
We only ask because for staffing reasons, if that's an addition or is supplant of a salary, I just have to figure that out.
Mr. Harlow has it all figured out already.
Okay, we're good.
Because he's been deployed before. He's been in the International Guard since he left high school, I think, so.
It's as you know, throughout other departments throughout the state and stuff, it's almost a rarity that departments are at their maximum staffing. Which, as a town, if we can afford that to you, that's great. Because
We've always struggled with it. It's part of, we try not to. We want to keep it up as much as possible.
Of course.
I always say that the summer months are the most important times because coincidentally, people like to go on vacation in the summer, so you get a little shorter, but.
As we all know,
Yeah.
sometimes when you lose a position, it's almost impossible to get it back sometimes. So
Yeah.
we want to be able to stay on top of that, and I wanted to hear your input. So
Yeah.
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
I just have a quick question. As far as summonses like speeding tickets, things like that, is there a way to know where I guess you would know the problem areas are in town?
We rely on the public for that. We go to when we get complaints from the public, that's when we send people out to do speed radar and try and
Okay.
address those things. We don't, I mean, we don't have a specific spot that we can say is worse than others. I'm sure if I asked everybody in this room, somebody would be somewhere different, you know what I'm saying? So we do rely on that. I mean, our guys do go out and patrol. They do, you know, they sit in certain places. I mean, if they're gonna look for good speeds, they're gonna go up on the highway. But that doesn't really impact us in the neighborhood either.
Yeah.
Most of us live in neighborhoods, we don't live on 22, so you're not complaining about speed there. So when those complaints come in, generally speaking, if you called me and said, listen, a citizen, or you emailed me and said, a citizen said that people are blazing down South Main Street in the 400 block, we put that out to you guys right away. So there's somebody assigned there every day then. Not the whole day, but hours that you tell us, we'll get somebody in there. I mean, and really, you're not gonna get a lot of tickets, because they're gonna see the police cars. You're just gonna change their habit for some time.
Okay.
So, but through the data, no, I really couldn't give you that. It probably wouldn't be.
You don't have like a, you know, when you fill out a location, it doesn't pop up 20 times in the past month.
I mean, we could tell you where guys pulled people over, but for it to be accurate, it would be very hard.
Okay.
There would have to be something, they'd have to probably drill down tickets for.
Okay.
Because you could get pulled over on Roseberry Street, but you were speeding up on, you know, Belvedere Road, and they finally caught up to you there.
I got you. Okay. No, I appreciate the report. It seems like everything we went over, and I appreciate the time it took to put everything together. It lets the public know, you know, exactly how many calls you're getting and how it's dispersed and what type of crime is really going on in town. I appreciate your time.
No problem. If you want anything else, just let me know.
Hey, thank you very much. And thank you, Chief.
We do have that, thank you.
Yes. I'd like to welcome Pat Flanagan.
We're going to have to go to executive session.
That's not on.
No.
Oh, okay. We're going to have to break for about 15 minutes for executive session. Sorry.
15 minutes, Pat?
Litigation purposes?
Yeah, for litigation purposes, that is not. I'd like to amend the agenda to reflect executive session taken for litigation purposes.
So moved. Second?
All right, we'll take a 15-minute executive session. We'll be right back.
No.
Coming out? You taking action tonight?
We're not taking action.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. Thank you.
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes.
Already there? Motion.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes, executive minutes, February 4th, 2020. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion?
Council President, I would like to request the council take serious consideration into asking Attorney Leonard to redact and allow us to make public these executive minutes.
Can I get a motion to?
Well, once you approve them, then I'll release them as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Next on the agenda is payment of bills. Vicki, can you read the bill list, please?
Current fund, $120,000, $771.58. State federal grants, $1,208.82. Capital fund, $11,126.61. Sewage utility fund, $11,266.80. Planning board trust fund, $11,417. For a regular bill list of $155,790.81. No Section 8 rent payments. There was a bill tabled at the last meeting for $102.93. There are no prepaid bills on the list, so the grand total of all funds, $155,893.74.
Motion to approve the list with the prior 78386 still tabled.
Second.
Discussion? Councilman Wyatt?
I have none.
None, sir.
Council Vice President?
Good, sir.
I am good as well. Roll call, Vicki?
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Fulton?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Next, we have public comment on agenda items only. I'd like to remind everybody to please maintain public forum, and there will be a 3-minute time limit. Joe?
Joe Miner, 392 South Main Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. First item is the habitability on the agenda of the ice house. Just want to say this, you can ignore it, of course. A beautiful building from its time. The walls look sound. Remove anything that makes it dangerous and let it stand until someone wants to make it beautiful again. It's just, when it comes up, please consider, it is one of the prettiest, it's a wreck now. With imagination, if you could see what it would look like restored, it will be one of the prettiest buildings in town. Second item, 2020-71, about the sanitary lines. Okay. This is a good beginning. That's good. I'm not giving you a raise because you got to do more. But I hope to continue through all the regions to get this inspecting done on these sewer lines. And I hope you budget for them this year. That's what I'm hoping for. But I still got to give you a good right now for doing what you're doing. But I have a question. Just how many regions are there in Phillipsburg? 7? 7. And okay, so 7 times as much. Thank you very much.
I would just like to let everyone know Joe is working off an older agenda with a habitability hearing that is not listed. We took that off of the current agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Then you aren't going to do anything with it?
Unrelated to
Bill Timmons, 230 South Main Street, ordinance 2020-04. How many parking meters are we replacing and why?
That's the general bond ordinance that we're doing.
I
Right.
don't know the exact amount of the parking meters. The exact amount?
I don't know, it's not a new bond ordinance.
Yeah. I think that is a work in
Part
progress.
6,
I don't know how many.
page 2.
There was $76,000 that's identified as improvements and upgrades to town-owned buildings and replacement of parking meters. And Mr. Timmons is asking how many parking meters.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact amount. I can get that for you.
Okay,
I will get that for you.
thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Bill.
Liz Paul's 26A Glen Avenue.
I was.
Here in reference to Resolution 2020-73 in regards to the proposed shared services with the Phillipsburg Housing Authority. I ask that you either table this, delete it from the agenda, or vote no. In light of the front page of the Express on Friday and the inappropriate text messages and inappropriate behavior, let's just leave it at that, unethical behavior by the executive director of the Housing Authority, I don't think it would be wise for the town of Phillipsburg to move forward with anything to do with the Housing Authority until things are addressed there. As most people know, my mother was a resident for many years. She was also harassed by the property manager and the executive director. I have the documentation, so if anybody would like to see it, I'd be more than willing to share that. I've also tried over the years to deal with the unethical behavior. I went to the state, I went to HUD, and everybody told me that it was a personnel problem that had to be dealt with the commissioners. Unfortunately, the commissioners, which I will point out, as you know, are appointed by council, the mayor, and one is the governor. So I ask at this time that the next time you need to make an appointment to that commission, think twice about who you're appointing, because when I went there to try to resolve this, no one would acknowledge me. Chairman Shelley sat with his back to me, wouldn't even look at me. So it's obvious that they don't want to handle the personnel issues there and that they would not acknowledge the unethical behavior. And at this point, I'd like to request that anybody that has experienced any harassment from the Housing Authority employees, that they come forward, because it's obvious that there's a problem there, and it's been for many years. And I think the more people that are encouraged to do this, they'll find out that that whole Housing Authority needs to be cleaned out. I mean, all you have to do is talk to the residents, past, present, and talk to some of the employees, and especially the ones that were fired. I think you'll find out a lot more, and it is the Phillipsburg Housing Authority. And this is something that I think all of you should take a good interest in, because there's quite a few residents of this town that rely on that housing. Unfortunately, because of the issue with my mom not being resolved, she had to move out of town. So I ask that you please consider deleting that from the agenda or tabling it, whatever.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to table resolution 2020-73.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulfer,
Yes.
Council Vice President McFay,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. Council, or resolution 2020-73 has been tabled from the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Since it's been, excuse me, Emo Brisson, 94 Bowman Street. Since it's been tabled, can I not ask a question about it?
You can ask a question.
Okay. I was not certain about what the impact of this was going to be. Is this taking the Section 8 housing that the town was administering and transferring, or establishing a contract for the housing authority to administer that, or do I misunderstand that?
Yeah, it doesn't, the way it was proposed to us was not transferring of any Section 8. It was taking their Section 9, transferring it to, I believe, Section 8, as I read it. We would administer those properties. We would be the administrator of those properties. They would run the housing authority as almost like a quasi-private entity.
And shared services.
And shared services with the town. The town would administer, it would go from 200 and some odd that we currently administer to 700. The amount would stay the same in town, but their Section 9 would transfer over to Section 8, would then be taken care of by the town. With the promise of not increasing the amount in town.
In a previous council, there was discussion about the housing authority taking over the Section 8 housing that the town was administering, but that's not what this is about.
Yeah, that's not in the agreement, the current agreement as written.
So the town would actually take over?
The town would take over the inspections portions of it. We would inspect it. We would administer all the paperwork. The funds would still come through the federal government. They would not be in charge of the housing authority. The housing authority would then become, I want to say, a private entity.
And what would the benefit be to doing that?
The town would hopefully have more control over things like inspections, quality of our residents' lives, things like that. Yeah, it's aesthetically. Hopefully, they would be able to, the way Paul Romerfield explained it, was they would have borrowing capital to improve. They would bulldoze a lot of the older units. He was here during the meeting, he said he would bulldoze a lot of the older units and replace them with newer units. So we would have more, we would have better facilities for the Section 8 residents.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next up, we have ordinances, second reading. 2020-4 bond ordinance. This is first read on February 18th, 2020. Second reading is March 3rd, 2020. Bond ordinance appropriating $1,758,100, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,670,195 bonds or notes of the town of Phillipsburg in the county of Warren, state of New Jersey, to provide for various general improvements previously authorized and superseding bond ordinance number 2018-15, finally adopted August 7th, 2018 of the town. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Public comments? None? Any discussion? Councilman Wyatt?
Not fine.
Councilman Fulper?
No, sir.
Council Vice President?
Good, sir.
And I have nothing. Roll call, please.
Councilman White?
Yes?
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Second reading for 2020-5, first read on February 18th, 2020. Second reading is March 3rd of 2020. Ordinance of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 464 Rental Property, Article 1, Registration, Inspection, and Enforcement of the Code of the Town of Phillipsburg regarding rental property registration statement form. Get a motion, please?
So moved.
Make a second, please.
Second.
Comments from the public? Discussion from council? Councilman Wyatt?
I'm good.
Councilman Fulper?
No, sir.
Council Vice President?
Good, sir.
I am good. Roll call, please.
Councilman White?
Yes?
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Second reading for 2020-6, first read February 18, 2020. Second reading is March 3rd, 2020. An ordinance of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey regarding 2020 salaries for unclassified employees. Motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Comments from the public? Discussion from council. Councilman Wyatt.
I'm good.
Councilman Fulper.
No, sir.
Council Vice President.
Good, sir.
And roll call, Vicki?
Councilman White?
Yes?
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Ordinance first reading under the agenda. Ordinance 2020-7, first read March 3rd, 2020. An ordinance of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, amending Section 67-23, Schedule 7, stop intersections of the Code of the Town of Phillipsburg to add stop intersections at Heckman and Warren Streets within the Town of Phillipsburg. Your motion, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
council discussion. Councilman Wyatt?
I have nothing except that I think this is needed. There's several accidents at this location and, bus stops, school bus, so forth. I think it's well needed.
Thank you. Councilman Fulper.
I concur with Councilman Wyatt. I also like to add the Marshall Street Wilson area for a three-way stop. And none of our alleyways have any stop signs whatsoever in the town of Phillipsburg. Therefore, I've seen a lot of drivers just cruise through the alleyways and in some instances caused accidents.
Council Vice President.
I concur with the councilman.
I'm good. Can I get a roll call, Vicki? Oh, did you want to say something, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, yeah, go right ahead.
Thank you, Council President.
No problem.
I asked Engineer Schreck about this, that over the last 3-4 years, we had 17 accidents at that particular stop, at that section. And living in that area for 50 years, I couldn't count any, and I have to commend him for coming up with that suggestion, or slow speed down. When I saw 3 accidents there in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, it was time to take action, and I really thank the council for supporting that at that particular area, like Finnegan's and Warren Streets, Hackman and Warren Street. I really appreciate that. It's going to make a difference.
Yeah, it's long overdue. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. All right. Roll call, Vicki?
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Pulper?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. First, will there be anything needed to be pulled? Councilman Wyatt.
No, you pulled the one that I had wanted to pull.
Councilman Pulver.
Council President, I'd like to pull 2020-74 for discussion.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Council Vice President.
Good, sir.
I'm good as well. Councilman Pulver, 2020-74.
Yes, sir.
Motion
Motion
to
to
discuss.
Yeah, motion is second, then you can discuss.
Yeah, motion to approve?
Motion to approve 2020-74.
I'll motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Councilman, DJ Kofezi brings to the town of Phillipsburg a long list of accreditations, education, and experience in the field. As you know, DJ Kofezi was interviewed by the last administration and passed over. After taking a look at his credentials and the resume put forth to us by the mayor, I'd like to make note that Mr. Kofezi does have the civil service certification. He has his bachelor's degree. He's a certified grant writer. He is a certified pool operator. He has many years of experience in the field. He's operated park programs, summer programs, and I believe that Mr. Kofezi will be an absolute asset to the town of Phillipsburg. With that being said, the original offer, in my opinion, with respect to the mayor, was a little low. I would request the council consider hiring Mr. Kofezi at a sum of $67,000, which was offered to the previous rec director who had less qualifications than Mr. Kofezi. Which, for the record, also on the record, which by the way was the norm when we submitted the salary survey with these type of.
Council Vice President.
I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Kofezi today via phone. He's still down in Maryland. He's going to proudly relocate back up into the northeast area. That obviously comes with an expense, and we're not the cheapest area to live in, especially if you just got your recent car insurance bills. It's going to go up this year. I was very impressed with the young man. Most importantly on that resume was his grant writing capabilities, which I'm not, I'll just defer to the mayor. I'm not quite sure we even have a grant writer in the building on Fillmore Street. We need that capability, and if we do, I apologize, but if we have one more, that's great, because there's a lot of money out there to be found, and this person can find that money for recreation. I was once, again, I was very, very impressed with his candor and his patience. And when we're dealing with our youth, as we recently seen again in the Express Times, we really need to bring a calming effect of what we got to do here in our town. And in addition to the fact that I'm very largely connected to the generous monies that were appropriated for a future recreation and community center here in Phillipsburg, which I've still not let go at, and I look forward to working with that. The person taking on this responsibility is going to have that also in the back of their mind. And they're also going to have in the back of their mind a youth organization under the belt, which former recreation directors and superintendents didn't have. So we're asking a lot of this position, especially walking in right now into a lot that we have a lot of uptick to what we can do here. Again, I read that resume, and I feel with that certification and being dual certified also in civil service, in addition to having the years of experience with a former director, an excellent one, Dawn Slifer, I'm very confident this young man can do the job and he should be doing it at a salary which was formally passed. I was in the audience in April 2017, which was the former council, which Mayor, respectively, your council approved that person for that position without the certifications or at that time resume or so forth and so on, does not have the resume that this young man does, and I proudly support that salary of $67,000. That's why I've served.
I think two previous councilmen have echoed all of my sentiments about Mr. Copese. He is moving back to town, not just the Northeast, back right into Phillipsburg with the rest of us. He plans on being a resident. He made
He's already secured
secure home residency, which is, I think, tremendously important to be one of us. I would also like to move to amend the to be determined start date to April 1st and add the suffix of junior to his name, which I think was a slight typo.
Thank you.
So motion to amend resolution 2020-74 to include April 1st as the start date and the suffix of junior with a salary of $67,000.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Proudly yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. And motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vicki?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Once again, proudly yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. On to the rest of the consent agenda as listed. And I get the motion to approve.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. Next, I'd like to amend the agenda, get a motion to amend the agenda to include Tim O'Brien with Van Cleef for an update on the... Okay, all right. Next on to new business. Sergeant McDonald asked for a commemorative sign for Sergeant Shirley, who is a Phillipsburg police officer. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. Mayor Tosigny would like a commemorative sign for Ed Bundro, U.S. Navy World War II 3rd Gunner's Mate. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. And lastly, for George L. Hartman, past mayor of Phillipsburg. Can I get a motion to approve that, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's no old business. Now on to mayor and administrative reports. I would now like to welcome Mr. Tim O'Brien with the engineering. Hello, Mr. O'Brien.
Good evening, Mr. President. Tonight, I just want to touch base on the 2020 road program that we've been working with the mayor's administration on, and Councilman Lyons also been assisting with the program. We have developed a finalized list that we want to go after It's been circulated to all members of council and to the mayor. We've been in discussions with DPW. We are anticipating improving approximately 60 roads, which is about 10.4 miles, which is a good share of the town. This is significant road improvement that hasn't been seen in a while in the town. We also will be improving, as part of this, we'll be investigating an additional 49,000 feet of sanitary and stormwater with improvements to at least 413 sanitary manholes and wet castings as part of this. This program will expand through the calendar year, starting with field investigation of storm and sanitary, and then moving into paving improvements that will take part over the year, anticipating starting paving in June. Some of the projects are funded through NJDOT, some are funded through utility escrows related to their improvements that they're required to resurface at least half the road, and another portion is coming from capital funds for the town. And that's everything I have, unless anybody has questions.
Councilman Wyatt, just called you Mary again, sorry.
Old habits are hard. No, I think it's a very aggressive, road improvement program. We went over this extensively today. The roads have been let go over the past 4 years, and it's time to catch up. Just let it be known that there will be no resurfacing done until all the sanitary and storm lines are videoed and, if need be, repaired before we move forward and put any hot asphalt on those roads.
Yes, that's correct. That's the intent of the program. As we video inspect, we're intending to be, as the contractor inspects the lines, we're intending to be there with the contractor, to be making calls whether it needs to be repaired right away, or the nature of the repair, so we can keep progressing with everything. And if need be, if a line does need replacing, then we would be pushing that road till the repair is done, to avoid any duplication of cost by paving and then digging it back up.
Councilman Fulbright.
No, sir, I'd just like to thank you and thank the mayor, and to say it's about time, so it's going to look good.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Council Vice President.
I'm good, sir.
I'd like to thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to sewers that work and roads that are paved. Thank you very much. I'd like to now welcome our mayor to give his meeting lead report.
Thank you again, Council President, members of council. This is my 4th mayor's report, and new changes are happening within the town. As promised, they'll be placing lids on the blue tank at the sewer plant. They will be using stronger deodorizers to eliminate the odor to give our residents a better quality of life. Also, after the meeting with our engineers, more lids will be placed on the digesters to eliminate up to 75% of the odor, which causes the biggest problems of our town. I just want to note, this isn't on the report, but before we had nothing there. Now we're going to take action as promised and try to remediate this problem to the areas that were discussed at the Purcell Hill area, the downtown, and the Delaware Heights area for a better quality of life. The budget process is done. Last year, the budget was presented by the previous administration with a 3-cent increase to council. The council seemed to work it down to 1.5 cents, I believe. Since working before I was sworn in, I presented this administration a 1.538 cent increase. Thank you to our CFO, Robert Merlo, for your hard work and working together to achieve our goal. Tonight, I will request the demolition of 85 Lewis Street. This is one of the buildings that I proposed during my campaign. This property is unstable, It is a danger to our citizens in that area. Town Inspector Kevin Duddy agrees 150% that this needs to come down for the safety and for a better quality life in that area. Promises made, promises kept. I met with Chief Stetner and Captain Swick to expand our video surveillance system. This will improve and expand the safety of our citizens and businesses alike as promised. This was started in 2012 when there was a need after the homicide situation at the BP gas station, and former Mayor Wyatt, Councilman Wyatt, and I got together, and he put, if I remember, $32,000 in the budget to start this initiative, and this would be promises made and promises kept. The working environment of this town workers is productive and full of positive reinforcement. This administration is working together in peace and harmony. Respectfully submitted, Todd M. Tersigny, Mayor of Phillipsburg. With that being said, I'd like to ask this council if they could make a motion based off of what I said at 85 Lewis Street to have this building demolished for a better quality of life in the Fillmore Street, Lewis Street area, 85 Lewis Street, which happens to have, I was told, and I wasn't told before I became mayor, there is a sinkhole on that property, and being in the business of 31 years in construction, my outlook on that property was right on the money. And that being said, if I would be so honored from this council.
Motion to move forward with a habitability hearing for 85 Lewis Street.
Second?
And we're just going to assign that resolution number 76.
Discussion?
I concur with the mayor.
Councilman Wine,
Yes.
discussion?
No, I have no
Council Vice
discussion.
President?
Mayor, is this, in my head, I got the picture, and I gotta hear it. Is this the white facade property with it has like a black wrought iron gate back in the day?
Back in the day, it was the old sports center where.
But it's like a white, like.
That is correct.
Okay. I strongly concur.
And it's pharmacy.
Roll call to move for a habitability hearing.
Councilman Wine?
Yes.
Councilman Fulper?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. This will be.
Thank you, council.
Resolution number 76. Okay. Next, we have public petitions. Again, 3-minute time limit, and please maintain proper decorum. Hi, Bill.
Bill Timmons, 230 South Main Street. I'd like to propose putting labels on the town's garbage cans preventing people from using them for their household garbage. There's one up by me where diapers are thrown in it, sometimes in bags, sometimes not. A lot of households are just not using garbage cans, they're depending on the town's garbage receptacles. They're not designed for household garbage. Either put a sticker on it or start discussing it with the people that live there. And fine them if you have to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Ready, Joe?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm Joe Minor, 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg. Oh, my glasses are on. First accolades, one accolade to Councilman Wyatt for letting us know that the engineers are going to inspect all the sewers this year. That's great. Instead of
All the sewers that we're doing road improvements on.
just the 5 miles.
10 miles.
10 miles.
10 miles.
Okay, that's good, we'll get you to do more. Okay.
It's 10 miles for the road improvement program, and then the sewer engineer is doing another the whole section down by Riverside Way and North Main Street, that area.
He's doing the whole sewer section or the road section?
The sewer in that area. There's two separate sections that we're
Okay.
doing for sanitary and storm.
Wonderful, wonderful. Here it is. I am attempting to make the public aware of the magnitude of the sanitary sewers problem. I know I have sounded like a crazy man who thinks our sanitary sewers are in danger of complete collapse. I asked the people at this meeting, these people, not those people that you can come to come to the sewer meeting next Tuesday and ask engineers Dennis Yoder and Dan Bernanski how much credibility they give to my fears. I'm trying to get another indicator was at a recent council meeting where they discussed state activity to establish storm sewer code. Storm sewers disperse stormwater while sanitary sewers collect flow, making them more volatile. Another indicator, it's rumored, and this may be this other section that Councilman Wyatt was talking about, that 40 feet below Delaware River Park, there's already a storm sewer breakage. And I'm assuming that that's the condition, that's how important it is. Please make noise at the council at the sewer meeting next Tuesday.
Joe,
We're done.
Address council, please. Thank you, Joe. Where did you say that rumor was?
40 feet below Delaware River
We're
Park.
addressing that, Joe.
You are,
We
good.
are addressing that.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of
Wonderful,
the.
wonderful, wonderful.
Let's slow down.
Hey, what's going on?
Hanging in there.
Familiar face.
Glad
Glad
you're feeling better.
Thank you. 206 Mercer Street. A couple of things. Councilman Wyatt and I know Mr. Droley, the officer that had a heart attack at Morgan's. He lived on Warren Street. I think it's more appropriate to put the sign on Warren Street where he lives than over at Pickford Avenue, because we did a couple signs for the veterans when I was on council, and we put them where they lived, the street where they lived. And I'm just making a suggestion, maybe it's better to put it on Warren Street when you first turn on Warren Street. If you know where Flock and Boston parking lot is when you turn on Warren Street, he lived in that brick home, that ranch home type home. That's where they were, the kids, because his son and I went to school together, so just come here. How are we making out with the old city hall? Anything yet?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Okay.
The Corliss Avenue property.
Yeah, Corliss Avenue. I just wanted to ask. The other thing I like to suggest, I've been talking to Rich A. all the time, and I'd like to suggest that council approve that we make the armory fire central. We make it fire central, because the work that we're doing at the armory right now and the work that Rich is doing in there, I feel fit better that way, that be central. Because if you get down to the central building now, it's jammed with all the trucks, they can hardly move, they got that. And move our community center down to the old fire central. It would be less expensive for us to do that building than it would do the armory. I know the armory would be expensive to have the fire central there, but they have everything that they would need, and even in the future, everything would be there at the palm of their hands.
So it's something that I'd like to suggest.
It's not bad.
Okay?
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Josh Manisco, 185 Lewis Street. I was wondering why the Phillipsburg Town Council sees fit to attack a resident and mention her personal financial and medical history in their podcast. And is this harassment retribution?
Josh, anything that is done for, I guess, hobby purposes is not council business.
You identify yourself as council members?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, not appropriate. We're councilmen 24/7.
So are you acting as council members when?
Not in capacity when we are performing a hobby.
How does it look to the town of Phillipsburg to see residents attacked by the town council in a forum where it not speak for themselves?
I'm not getting the question. Can you rephrase that, please?
How does it look to see a resident attacked by members of town council in a forum?
I don't see any attack in any hobby that I've done, Josh. Or I can't speak for any other council members. You can speak on your own behalf. That's all I have to say, Jeff.
Yes. Disappointing.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Emil
Mr.
Wilson,
President.
94 Bowman Street.
How are you today? Again.
Okay. I have some questions for clarification. The commemorative signs, it doesn't say in the agenda where these are being placed. Could you just clarify that?
Yeah,
Council President?
yeah.
Yes, Mr. Brisson, Mr. Bunro, a World War II veteran, his will be on the corner of Stanley and Lindell Street, where he resided, I believe, 70 years? Okay. And the other one for Mr. former Mayor Hartman. He was mayor from 1946 to 1949, and he resided at 16 Raymond Street. So that would be on Raymond Street. And former Councilman Lutz stated about Mr. Jurley on Warren Street. I remember him being on Pickford, but he had been around a little longer than me, so I figure Warren Street might be a good suggestion for Mr. Jurley. But those two, I know exactly where they would go.
Okay, thank you. In terms of the superintendent of recreation, there was I guess, resolution passed for a salary of $67,000, which was identified as being an increase from the proposal from the mayor. Could I ask what the original salary was proposed at?
I'm not aware of any original.
Yeah, there was brief discussions, but nothing solidified. It was just.
It sounded like there was an offer.
It was under. It was under.
But you can't say how much.
No.
Okay. The other thing, I just wanted to clarify about the stop sign at Heckman and Warren. There was a resolution about that. The resolution passed.
An ordinance.
Ordinance, okay, ordinance. And Councilman Fulper mentioned some other things, another place where he would like to see a three-way stop sign.
Yeah.
And also stop signs in the alleys. I'm assuming that those things were not included in the ordinance and they were not passed tonight, correct?
No, they were not included in that.
Okay.
I believe you said Wilson.
It was just unclear because, you know, you didn't reiterate what you were actually voting on when you voted, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, those were just, I guess, personal, yeah, recommendations for stop signs.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
David Morissette,
Hi, Mr. Morissette.
5 Fairview Heights,
How are you today?
Phillipsburg, New Jersey. I'm doing great, Council President. Thank you. I promise that I will keep my comments quiet, calm, and non-threatening, so nobody calls the police on me. Okay. So,
Yeah.
as mentioned in the invocation by Councilman McVeigh, I agree that we must remain civil, respectful, and should maintain, as Council President Piazza had mentioned, we have to maintain proper decorum at town council meetings. It is with these thoughts that I would like to call on council to suspend Councilman Fulper for one meeting and an additional censure of Councilman Fulper for calling me a vulgar name at the conclusion of my agenda comments on February 8th, 2020. Thank you.
May I respond? Yes, sir. What vulgar name did you believe that I had called you?
The vulgar name that Council Piazza turned and said something to the effect of, "You're going to regret that," and you said, "No, I'm not going to regret that."
No, sir. What you said was nice music, and I said, it's apples. That's what I said. You should go back and review your video. I read it, I saw it. I said it's apples. The next time you come forward to the podium with an accusation, I would hope that it would be truthful. Thank you.
It did not sound that way to myself.
I will give you the opportunity to go back. We're done here. Perhaps apologize.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Nothing from the audience. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone? All right. Now we'll move on to council open time. Councilman Wyatt?
I have nothing this evening.
Councilman Fulford?
Yes, sir. Not barring the last comment, I would like to give a personal thanks to the First Town Youth Organization for their quick response, and to the mayor as well, working in conjunction with our recreation department, with the First Town Youth Organization, with their swift response in their actions and removing those offending parties who had taken part in what I believe to be inappropriate conduct. I'd also like to personally thank the coaches who were on scene. There were a lot of rumors that were out there on social media. For one, I can tell you that the First Town coaches did not throw a punch. That was confirmed with the Forks Township people who I spoke with earlier this week. I'd like to thank Rich Gellock, Kevin Johnson, and Matthew Skirbo for doing everything they possibly could to break up the parents. The truth is that emotions run high in youth sports, and I believe they did their very best. It's unfortunate that parents would ruin their children's youth recreational experience by behaving in that manner. So I do thank you, Mayor. I thank you as well for your swift response. I'd also like to thank you, Mayor, for your submission of a conservative budget to limit the increase on our residents and keep that impact to a minimum. It's nice to not have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb yet again this year. For what, 4 meetings? 4 or 5 meetings? I appreciate that. I'm sure the residents will appreciate that as well. And my final is to congratulate DJ Tofezi, who unfortunately could not be here with us this evening. But I believe DJ will do a phenomenal job. I believe he's more than qualified, and he's coming on board with a lot of his fingertips. With your guidance and his experience, I do believe everything will work out just fine. With that being said, I have nothing further.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Council Vice President?
First, I want to always wish blessed prayers and safe travels for all of our first responders in town. It is a busy town. It's a dangerous town at times. So for all of their work, thank you very much. Second, I want to thank my favorite councilman of all time, I'm sorry, Councilman Faulkner. Councilman Lutz, you look fantastic. Where are you? You look fantastic. And congratulations on speedy recovery on there, and in addition to your wisdom and stuff, which part of the redevelopment subcommittee that's my mind going, that's my former champion in that as well. Next one idea, which I'll be discussing that with Council President Piazza on what was said this evening. Speaking of the redevelopment subcommittee, we have a very busy week. I know I'm meeting someone tomorrow about some downtown business, and there's some things, I think we're meeting Thursday, and then there's something also Thursday, I just came up on the schedule, which you told me about possibly Thursday morning, in addition to Thursday evening. So your redevelopment subcommittee of myself and Council President Piazza have a very busy slate, and we are staying busy, we are keeping open-minded, and with that being said, it's also a lot of ideas are coming in, a lot of big ideas, and we're going to try to do the best we can. We have spoke to we can't do anything without our counselor, who we're talking about possible action in the near future of us, RFQs going out, and let's get this ball rolling. Lastly, I just want to thank, that's what my last shout out is going to go to, unfortunately, I know our resident came up here and talked about our Phillipsburg Housing Authority and what's going on there. That is something obviously that's hit the paper, and it's no secret. We are in the paper here and there, but we deal with that, and we don't pass judgment until the process has been complete. With that being said, I know one last thing you said, Ms. Paulus, was as far as when our council has selections, that we take it very seriously. I know as your councilman, as elected councilman, I've been part of 2 selections, and I'm proud to say that both of our selections as a council, the previous Councilman DiGiorno was not here tonight, but on the previous one selection we had, and then the one we had, actually both on it, right? They're both actually, it's a little bit of a blur the last 2.5 years. I thought actually we had one, but that was a gubernatorial selection at that point. But we take great pride in consideration of what we're doing moving forward. They are a board, or we're a council, but we are, like you said, Phillipsburg, and we take great pride on who we put on there. I know with 100% certainty, and the folks that we chose for that, I can put my head down at night knowing that the selections we made I'm very proud of that. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the warm weather this week. Don't get sick. Wash your hands. Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I'd like to congratulate DJ as well tonight. His enthusiasm was inspiring when I got a chance to meet him. I know he will do a great job for our town. The past 2 months have been very busy. I think we've been able to get quite a bit accomplished in the 60 days because everybody knows the role. They stay the course, they realize what they have to do, and they complete the tasks at hand without going off the track. So with that, I think that's all we have for this evening. Like a motion to adjourn, please? So moved. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you.